New tonight, a woman is facing negligent homicide charges in one of those tragedies that is after a 3-year-old boy was killed.
Investigators say the child accidentally shot himself with a loaded gun. Explains this case and updates us on this holiday weekend's other violent crimes.
In the midst of a violent weekend Saturday, a 3-year-old boy lost his life at a home in Central City.
The shooting occurred inside of the residence. The gunshot wound was determined to be self-inflicted by the 3-year-old.
His family, visiting from Texas, mourned young Rudy's death on Sunday.
He had a very short life, but it was fulfilled, I promise you. If you would have met him, you would have felt it too.
Monday morning, police were calling on the owner of the gun, Tatisha Refuge, to turn herself in.
We also believe that Ms. Refuge tampered with the crime scene after immediately fleeing the location after the shooting.
Her case is just one of 9 shootings over the span of 2 days.
The person of interest in the death of a 3-year-old boy has surrendered to New Orleans police and is now a suspect.
Yeah, at noon, we broke the news that police identified the woman as the owner of the loaded gun that they say the boy shot himself with. And now Tatisha Refuge has surrendered to the NOPD. She's charged with negligent homicide in connection with the child's death.
Police say she's a family friend who rents the house on Willow Street where the child was shot Saturday. Right now, the parents are not facing any charges. Investigators say the family was in town on a visit from Texas. Officials say there may be more charges coming in this case.
Police have a woman in custody after a 3-year-old dies in an accidental shooting.
Spoke with the little boy's mother and joins us now with those details.
I just can't believe that it's real. I can't believe it. Just feel like a dream. I just won't wake up from it right now. I just feel like I'm just waiting to wake up. I don't feel like it's real right now.
Following the Thanksgiving holiday, LeSean Ratliff says she drove into New Orleans from her home in Cypress, Texas, to pick up one of her sons. With her was Rudy Ratliff, her 3-year-old son.
He was a lovely kid. Like, he was so lovely. He couldn't sleep without me. Like, he could not sleep without me.
On Saturday night, Ratliff says she, her boyfriend, and her sons were visiting 47-year-old Tatisha Refuge's home in the 2200 block of Willow Street in Central City. According to Ratliff, they were playing the card game Uno when she heard a gunshot and realized 3-year-old Rudy had been shot.
It was an accidental shooting. The gun fell off his grandparent's hip. It wasn't loaded. It wasn't in the safe. It wasn't, in the handgun position. It wasn't in the safe. It just was in the pocket, I guess, and fell out and shot my son.
Rudy died at the hospital. NOPD investigators say the 3-year-old shot himself after coming across an unsecured loaded gun that belongs to Refuge.
At this time, we've cleared the mother and the boyfriend of criminal negligence and have focused our investigation on Miss Refuge.
LeSean Ratliff says Refuge is like an adopted grandmother to her children. Ratliff says she believes the shooting was an accident, but Refuge had a responsibility to keep her gun in a safer place.
I know that it was a mistake, you know what I'm saying? I know that. I believe in my heart that it was a mistake, you know what I'm saying? I just don't understand. Just don't understand.
Police originally investigated the shooting death of 3-year-old Ruby Ratliff as a tragic accident. Days later, a woman who was considered part of the family was booked for negligent homicide because she owned the gun. But she's now facing even more serious charges after a large drug seizure related to that investigation. Obtained a recorded phone call in which the suspect talks about what happened. Spoke exclusively to Rudy's mother about developments that have left her grieving for her child all over again.
LeSean Ratliff shared with us that anguished phone call with Tatisha Refuge, a trusted family figure they called Titi. The call came about a month after Refuge was booked with negligent homicide as the owner of the gun that fired a single bullet into the chest of Ratliff's son, Rudy, the 3-year-old boy who everybody called Tootie Man.
I cry every day, man. I can't get around this. What happened? I'm sorry.
The arrest of Refuge was originally based on the shooting taking place inside her home. But what was recorded later in that phone call has changed the trajectory of the case. While Ratliff and family members first assumed Rudy accidentally picked up the gun and shot himself, her conversation with Refuge revealed devastating new details.
It fell out my pants. Let's get up and try. out my pants.
Initial police reports show that family members assumed Rudy shot himself. Ratliff told a detective that she heard Refuge scream, "He got hold to the gun." A family friend offered that version at a memorial several days later.
Some kind of way the baby got a hold of the gun.
It was unbelievable. I had so much faith in her. I thought my child shot himself before I thought she shot my child.
Now that phone call in which Refuge appears to give a different version of what happened is in the hands of detectives and has become a critical piece of evidence. In the call, Refuge does not go into detail about how the trigger was pulled and the shot fired. Visiting from Texas, Ratliff was inside Refuge's house, but her back was turned. She explained that she went to Refuge's house to pick up her 10-year-old son after he spent Thanksgiving there.
My son used to go to church on Sundays. They did a lot of stuff before we moved to Texas. Like, my son spent majority of his life with her.
A search warrant later served on Refuge's home revealed shocking new evidence. According to court records, detectives found a backpack with baggies, a scale, and a substantial amount of white powder. The detectives say they also found a gun magazine with 9mm rounds. In this February arrest warrant outlining a host of new accusations, NOPD detectives wrote that the white powder turned out to be fentanyl, a deadly and illegal synthetic opioid. The detectives say the total weight was more than 1.5 pounds, worth more than $100,000 on the street, and potentially enough to kill hundreds. 747 grams of fentanyl. What do you think of that?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I cannot believe it. With all this going on, I just can't believe Petey.
The case that started with a negligent homicide arrest has now become one of the city's biggest fentanyl busts in years. Refuge has since been rebooked with illegal use of drugs in the presence of a minor, illegal carrying of a gun with drugs, and the most serious new charge, possession with intent to distribute more than 250 grams of fentanyl. The fentanyl count, based on the amount, carries a sentence of 25 years to life in prison.
It's a lot on me. Like, I still got to live every day without my son. Like, I'd never see my son again.
Refuge's bail now stands at $1.5 million, higher than bail for most murder suspects.
Attorneys for Refuge couldn't be reached for comment.
Well, that loved one they were visiting is now charged with negligent homicide in relation to Rudy's death, and his mother just tells me tonight she can't believe any of this happened. These pictures are all LaShawn Ratliff has left of her son, Rudy Ratliff.
My life changed like that. My whole life changed like that.
Through tears, LaShawn talks about losing her 3-year-old son this past weekend, the toddler dying from a gunshot wound while the Cyprus-based family was visiting a close family friend in New Orleans.
She's like a stepmom to me, and she's like a grandparent to my kids.
LaShawn, her boyfriend, and oldest son were playing a game of Uno in Refuge's home when they heard a pop.
I see Rudy, and then I see he has a hole right here, and I start seeing blood come out of the hole.
New Orleans police say the toddler found a gun in Refuge's home and accidentally shot himself. LaShawn disagrees.
My son didn't kill himself. My son didn't find a gun. He had no idea a gun was in the house. She told my mother that the gun fell off her hip and shot my son. My son is dead. He's not coming back, and somebody needs to be held accountable.
LaShawn says as they push for accountability, she hopes people will remember her son as the light he always was.
He was a beautiful soul. He was a beautiful, beautiful soul. He was such a happy baby.
LaShawn says that her and her family are going to remain in New Orleans until Rudy's funeral happens, but you can imagine there is just so much devastation for this family. So if you would like to help them, head over to our website where we have those details.
Planning a funeral for a 3-year-old. We can't even begin to imagine the difficulty of doing so tonight with a very tough story. Thank you.
We want to send full condolences to the Ratliff family and a special RIP to little Tootie Man. Although this was an accident, this was very senseless. And we just got to make sure that we got these guns in safe places when we got these precious babies around. And to the mother, I'm not trying to be funny, but you knew that wasn't a safe place for your kids to be. Miss Refuge looked like she's in the game and been in the game for a minute. And anybody that knows New Orleans and know that Willow area, man, you know it goes down over there. And it's no safe spot for children to be. Hey, man, y'all drop a comment below and let me know what y'all think. Should Miss Refuge here be locked away for the rest of her life? Should Miss Ratliff forgive Miss Refuge here? I mean, after all, it was an accident. A tragic accident, but an accident nonetheless. So should this lady find forgiveness in her heart for her stepmom accidentally dropping the weapon that discharged and killed her baby? Or should you say F her and she should do 1,000,000 years in jail? She shouldn't have had the gun no way. Y'all let me know. Until next time, I'm Gracious Marlowe. Take care of yourself. Thank you for watching Prime Crime Network, your source for urban and suburban and around the world news. Hit the subscribe, like, and the notification bell